super weird. How do I... Okay, so I've done that one. And now, how do I put the volume up on this one? Do I suppose? And there's the mic. Man, this is really killing me. So the problem is, if you're watching this video in the future, I am trying to make it so that I can hear the audio from YouTube instead of through Patreon. And the issue with that seems to be I can't make the audio come through mute site. I don't want to mute the site. Unmute. What I want to do is hear the audio from this site. So let's mute that site. But then how do I unmute from this site and or don't understand how I'm supposed to do this. Don't want to close it. Oh, that is so aggravating. So I'm still behind. Which is really aggravating. Oh well, whatever. I'll have to figure that out another time. Or, let's see. Sorry to do this to everybody. Hopefully I can just trim this off. This is the kind of stuff that really gets aggravating when I'm trying to figure it out. Because there's no obvious solution. I can't. There's no place for volume on here whatsoever. Yeah, I don't see anything. It's like I have to listen to the audio through Patreon, and then I have to do the video through YouTube. That doesn't make any sense. I don't need an encoder. wonder if I just start one and then add in the Patreon. I don't know, man. This is dumb. Show all controls. Ha! Got it. How did I do that? Oh, okay, right-clicked, show all controls. Perfect. Yeah, cool. So now the video's not working. It's funny, it's showing it on. Oh, so weird. Okay. All right, now we can actually get started. We are at 7 minutes, 30 seconds, so hopefully I can trim that. We'll see. I am going to move the microphone because the audio is going to screw with my speech patterns. All right, so what we're going to do is I've got the little fire base here. We're going to make it a little bit more fiery. Just going to use some orange paint. I have got a water cup here somewhere. There it is. All right, so I'm going to dry brush this on. And of course, I have forgotten a paper towel. I've got that. So I'm dry brushing, so I'm getting most of the paint off. And then I'm going to brush this down, right? So I'm going to take it, I'm going to brush it down. And what that's doing, you can actually see it better on camera than you can in person. It's adding sort of an orange tint to this. And the reason I want that is because I'm going to make it look sort of a bit more fiery. So what I'll do is I'll get a nice orange base, dry brushed on, and then I'll go through with the yellow and get that touched. It's going to look pretty cool. It's not going to turn out quite like I wanted it because I really should have rubbled it up front. But whatever. Tee-hee. Didn't do it. Bad. All right, let's get some of this. We're also going to ash out probably some of the very edge, only because I like the way that ends up looking. So pretty much done with the dry brushing of the orange already. So it's a little bit more orange, kind of tell. Sorry about the video quality and everything. We'll be working on that as I get more patrons, more followers, more opportunity, more money, all that. Just need more of everything. That's all. All right. So rinse off our brush immediately because we are going to be needing that here in a moment. Lucky good thing about dry brushing is it doesn't take very long to dry. The orange should get, it's actually about as dark as that's going to get, I think. I'm really bad about collecting everything I need for these things right up front, so sorry in advance. Okay, so for this guy, I've got a couple of ideas. I actually pulled some of the moss off of my tree out front. and I really like it. It's a pretty cool little piece that I'm probably going to set right in here. I wish I didn't have those little white bits, but there's not a lot I can do about those right now. All I can really do is glue this. Ugh. Caps on, people. That's all I have to say about that. So for all of my patrons, at some point I am going to have to do a live video or a live stream that is public, just to try to get some attention on here. But that is going to be a very well planned diet episode, if that makes any sense. Sorry, a little Mountain Dew early in the morning. Keep it going. So I've got this little piece of moss from my tree in my front yard. And I will, at some point, I'll show all of that. Just not at the moment. And then once this is dried on there, right? See, look at that. Look at how great that is, right? I think it's going to mess with my flocking a little bit currently because I haven't done the flocking yet, but I wanted to make sure this got on camera because this is the kind of thing I love. Okay, so this little bush is going to end up being one of the features of the piece. Like, it's just something that'll draw the eye, and it's amazing. And I literally plucked it off of my tree out front. Like, I have one tree in my postage stamp of a front yard, and it's got all of the moss I could possibly need for a series of these, which is great. Now the flocking for this one, I'm not sure what I want to use. I've got some foam, what I call moss flocking, and then I have sawdust flocking that I have in a couple of different colors, right? And I can make whatever I want. I am going to be doing a sawdust flocking video at some point in the near future, so that I can show you. I have got so much new wood flour and sawdust. I can't wait to do a supply video on it, and then show you how I do my sawdust flocking coloring video. And apologies for anyone who watches this in the future. I do vape, and I do it on camera sometimes. Not really on camera, but the camera's here, my vape's here, my mouth is up here. I promise I will try to remember to move the microphone, but I'm pretty terrible about things like that and remembering. So I apologize for in the future, and if it is something that is indeed detrimental to my channel, please let me know, and I will fix my behavior immediately. So I've done that, and I've left it out of view of the camera. And all this is going to do, it's just going to take some time to get it dried. Probably it's early, so it's not probably quite 70 degrees in my garage, so it'll probably take a little bit. But I can also add the other flocking. And this is already dry. So this is what I'm talking about. Like, I'm slowly getting the workflow of these things, so that I can keep going and not have all this dead space. Okay, so back to it. Let me move some of these things. I do want to get some flocking on here. Let's see. The biggest issue that I have with the flocking is that I really should be using Mod Podge instead of the glue that I have, but the glue that I have just sticks so well. I think that I'm going to stop the flocking around this level so that it looks like these are just bursting out. And then obviously I'll carry it. So nothing to it but to do it. So, and if you've seen anybody else do flocking, I mean, this is not rocket science. It's glue that you spread, and then you put your flocking on. Now, the real art in the flocking is how to get it on there to look natural, even though it is a totally unnatural product. I shouldn't say that. Sawdust is perfectly natural. So basically what I'll do is I'll take it in sections. And there's a bush that's going to go up here too. So I don't want to mislead with that. Now we need a flocking tray. That's another project plate. That is not one for now. I am currently in site D, which you guys don't really know too much about yet because I haven't posted anything about it. But I'm going to use the darker stuff for the moment. Put some lighter stuff on top of that later. So all I'm taking is I've got my sawdust flocking. And I'm just going to sprinkle it on. Right. Now you can kind of see why I do the dirt the way I do, because if there's any shine through, right, it looks like dirt. I don't have to worry about it. Which like. So we're going to just put more glue, right? And it's basically wash, rinse, repeat. You just put glue on, spread glue out, flocking on. Turn project, wash, rinse, repeat. You got to be a little careful around this bush because it's not dried. I gave it some tack time, but that was about it. So try to get a little into the bush here. Get a little spready on the inside of the hump. Can't really see that, but I promise you that's what I'm doing. And sometimes this is where this gets tedious, but for me, I call it relaxing. If that makes any sense. Like, this is why I do this hobby, because I can really just slow life down a bit. Don't have to worry about what's going on, especially since it is so early in the morning. So you see, we got grass flocking going in here. I don't use static grass very much because I'm not a huge fan of the way it turns out with the carpeting look. I mostly use static grass flocking for grass clumps. And I will have a video detailing how I do that at some point also, because it's a pretty cool little trick that I picked up from those internets. Okay, so glue spread pretty good. I'm gonna just get this on here. See, it's a fast process. I like using the full glue, right? And you'll see, I mean, I need to cover this a bit, but you can't really tell. You'll be able to tell better in the pictures that I do afterwards. The flocking that I use is multi-colored. I don't use just a straight one color flocking. I mix all of them. So I make 2 to 4 different colors. Sorry, I got a paintbrush in my mouth. It's a bad habit. I do this at work all the time. Pencils go in my mouth. So just try to get some of this in. I do have some static grass, what do they call it? Clumps that I would be adding into this as well. Move that just a little bit. Okay, and then I can. So I'm happy that I'll be finishing up these bases in the next couple of days for you, because there's bigger projects that I want to tackle as far as live streams go. I think I'm going to start doing some little buildings again. I just don't know how little. I've got to get with a couple of friends of mine that do D&D and see if it's something that's marketable, or if it's just something that, because I honestly couldn't tell you how popular D&D is. I think it's getting more popular with the advent of YouTube and channels like mine that show people how to do things for themselves, but you never know, right? So not too worried about it. So as far as my flocking, like I said, you'll see in the pictures, I use multiple colors in one flocking. So this one actually has, I think this one's got 3 different colors in it. And then when I go through and do my second flocking layer, which is going to be a lighter one like this, which I'll do like around the water, and I'll have it come eking up. It's going to look more alive. That way I've got sort of this base coated. I'm going to set that to the side for the moment. But I wanted this one to be a lot more natural. And so I'll do a bunch of flocking on that in a little bit. And yeah, once the bushes go on, I'll do some, I'll put a couple of like twigs and things. It'll look really natural. It'll be cool. It'll be cool. All right, let's get rid of this. And in my constant journey to save materials, boom. Okay, so we'll come back to this. We're going to do some folk art, just plain old yellow. And then I'm going to use this plate for some reason. Came out really wet. I really like the folk art paint. It's one of my favorite paints. It has been kind of a pain. Where did I put the paper I was using? Raw. All right, so all I'm doing is really lightly brushing some yellow on here, because it doesn't need, A, it doesn't need a lot, and B, the paint's a little wet on top. Was my first time opening that paint, so. All right, man, I don't know how well you can tell on that, but the yellow is just ever so faint, and it is beautiness. think these fire ones are kind of my favorites because it doesn't take a lot to make them look just freaking cool. So you see all I'm doing is I'm just barely touching it with this yellow because it's so wet and it's just coming right off, which is fine. As it dries, it'll even out a little bit. So I'm sorry, I'm trying to do this in a different location is not ideal currently because it's killing my back. Once I clear this area out, it'll be great, but right now it's just a little bit of a pain. All right, so I'm touching the top pretty hard with the yellow just to get that sort of bright, like, hey, you can tell already, right, like you get that orangey, yellowy, burny tone. And then you've got the Obsidian Lake, which I like. I may have to tone this down a bit with a wash, just a little bit. So I might heavy up the yellow just so that the wash doesn't bleed it out. So on the top there, yeah, I think I am going to have to. But I used brown before. So there's that. I will be doing, actually, you know what? I'm going to go get the wash now because this will be dry in almost no time. So let me go get the wash. I'll be right back. Okay, come on. There you go.
Simply Piano teaches you how to read notes, and you can't imagine how many times it's gone ahead.
So one of the things that you forget as you go along, I actually remembered yesterday that I could YouTube NCS songs, and the background and not worry about it. So YouTube can't crush me for using their own thing. So I've got my black wash here. It's one of two washes that I use. Well, two main washes. I make little washes every now and again, but one of the two main washes I use because it gives a nice tone without messing everything up. So I'll show you here. Right. So the wash is paint with a bunch of water. That's really all it is. And so you take it. And yes, I understand it looks very dark right now, but it won't. It'll lighten way up as it dries. So it's more of a subtle look. And then for the most part, I think I'm going to leave it along or around the crystal again. Have to clean off the pool again, but whatever. I'll just stipple it, I think, on the top just to keep that yellow, but get some of the detail, right? So there's that. It's now you've done it, you dumbass. Luckily, I'm not afraid to get paint on myself. See, all we do for that is dry it out on our fingers. I'm going to try to keep these live streams, I think, down. I've been trying to do them about an hour. Now I think I'm going to try to get them to about half an hour for at least now while nobody's watching. That way I can just get videos out. So that being said, you've been watching me for about half an hour actually do things, not just fiddle fart around, but yeah, so as that dries out, oh yeah, you can really see in the blend. Yeah, perfect. That's going to turn out so nice. I don't know how much more I'm going to do with this, to be totally honest. I really kind of like how it's turned out anyway. This little beauty is amazing, but I cannot really do anything more to it until that completely dries, because if I do anything before it completely dries, I'll just be ripping out flocking. So I'm going to leave it there. And then I will try to set up another time to do this today, later on. I hope you've enjoyed this morning. I hope you have a wonderful Friday. And happy gnoming, everybody. Just enjoy what you do, whatever it is, every day.